Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of our guests today, including Noodles, Jamie McLennan, standing by, sponsored by Passat Motors. This November, say no, N-O, to the GST when purchasing a new-to-you vehicle from Passat Motors. Learn more at Passat Motors, BASANT Motors.com. As we bring in to talk some NHL, we bring in Jamie McLennan, Noodles from TSN. Thanks for doing this, Jamie. How are you, sir?
Not too bad. How are you guys doing today?
Great. Very well, very well. Shea Weber, I'm not sure if I believe your careers would have intersected at one point, but Shea Weber gets into the Hockey Hall of Fame, officially inducted on the weekend. Did you ever face a Shea Weber slap shot?
I believe I did. And, it's funny because when guys are, going into the hall, or when you talk to other players like some of my teammates, I remember having a conversation with Jerome McGinley. So he's a pretty good guy to pick his brain on top tier defensemen. And I remember there was two defensemen that he always said he didn't love going down their side. And he said, number one was Chara, Zdeno Chara, because he take a piece of you every time, no matter what. And Iggy got to play with him in Boston and said the same thing, like Chara was just an animal, even in practice. But the other one that I thought was interesting was Shea Weber. He said Shea Weber, if depending on who his partner was, and for many years he was in Nashville, correct? So you go down that side and pick your point, whether it was Dan Hamhuis or whatever, you go, okay, I'll take his side instead of going down Shea's, because he always got a piece of you. And he took a little chunk of you and made it hard to play against. So, the shot was legendary. Obviously, in my career, I played with Al McInnes. Al was a guy who shot 100 miles an hour just for fun. But Shea had a really heavy, fast shot. So a lot of times, guys can shoot the puck 90 to 100 miles an hour, but when it hits you, it's just a puck bouncing off you. Where with Shea, you felt it. Like you could feel how heavy his shot was. So, for me, there was no question he was a Hall of Famer. Seeing what his body of work was, seeing how important he was to the teams that he played for. And certainly, even hearing recently Nick Suzuki talk about him and his impact on the organization and even on him as a young player, making him a captain, you could tell what type of person Shea Weber was.
Proud of Sicamous, former Kelowna Rocket. Jets taking on the Rangers tonight, 14-1 Winnipeg. Connor Hellebuyck, Vezina Trophy candidate, the favorite even at this early stage. Is he a Hart Trophy candidate, Jamie?
I would say yes. There's an argument for three or four players, based on what their teams have been up to. But I look at Winnipeg, and Winnipeg has tremendous depth. I like their D. They're mobile. They're big. They're mean on the back end. But Hellebuyck is the backbone of that team. With all due respect to Mark Scheifele, I think Kyle Connor doesn't get enough respect as a superstar. I think Nikolai Ehlers being healthy, Velarde being healthy. You look, Perfetti takes another step. But that team isn't 14-1 without Connor Hellebuyck in net, making the big saves at the right time. So, I'm a proponent, and I can argue for goaltender should be in the Hart Trophy conversation every year because it's the most important position. But that being said, I do believe this is legit. Hellebuyck's had this type of start. The team has had that type of start, and he's been kind of the big reason why they've stabilized. So I would say yes, definitely should be in the Hart conversation.
Hey, Jamie, Demko had his best practice on Sunday. We're going to show you some video here. He's getting very close. Are you seeing anything here that would stipulate to you he's getting closer? I mean, this was the most active he's been in any practice with the Canucks so far in his rehab and trying to get back in the lineup.
So I saw some snippets on Twitter, and, watching him, everything coming back from an injury, regardless of what it is, especially we're just going to call it lower body because I could not pronounce what the hell's wrong with the back of his knee. So
Popliteus.
Exactly. I know it's become a household name in Vancouver because everybody knows it. But for me, it's all about comfort. And, watching the way he gets up, watching the way he moves in the net. Again, I'm not in his head. I don't know his body. but he doesn't look like he's thinking about it, if that makes sense. A lot of times I see guys come back from lower body injuries as a goaltender, and they're moving gingerly. They're careful with their pushes across. They're not at 100%. They're making sure, hey, we're going to build up to this. That doesn't show any signs the way that I've watched him moving. Even in the video that you just showed me and some of the stuff I saw on Twitter, he looked more comfortable, which is a good sign. That's a huge sign for the Vancouver Canucks fans. I know Lankinen hit the ditch on the weekend, but outside of that, he's played very, very well. But that being said, Thatcher Demko is Thatcher Demko. There's a reason why he's a superstar, in my opinion. And anybody else who's playing net for Vancouver, on their best day, they're not Thatcher Demko, in my opinion. But the fact that he's on the road to recovery, looks more comfortable in the net, that's a really positive sign.
Hey, Jamie, the Flames are in town tonight. Last night they beat the Kings. Dustin Wolf was great. First star, almost got the shutout. He's been off to a great start. Like, this is a 7th rounder, and he's playing really well for the Flames right now. They're talking about he might take over the number 1 role there. Are you surprised? I mean, this is a kid that when he was in Everett, playing just down the highway from here, a lot of scouts, scouts, they love every goalie to be 6'3", 6'4". He's not. He's a 6-footer, but his progress, they got to be happy in Calgary with him.
Very happy, and I think you're being generous saying he's a 6-footer. I think he's under. I'm not lying. But that being said, I talk about UC Saros a lot. He's one of my favorite goaltenders as well. You guys know I love Demko. I love Saros. I love Vasilevsky. Saros is not a 6-footer, and to me, Dustin Wolf has a lot of UC Saros in him. So when I watch Saros play, he has to be perfect. There's no, hey, I'm late on the play, but I'm 6'5" and it's just going to catch a piece of my arm because I'm that big. I look at the goaltender, I'm in Toronto. Anthony Stolarz is 6'6". A lot of these goalies now are 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". So they can be a little bit late in their movement, a little bit lazy on their play side to side because they can have the flexibility to stretch out. With smaller goaltenders, there's no margin for error. So you almost have to be perfect on most nights just to give yourself a chance to make saves. Dustin Wolf, this is no surprise. You just talked about Everett. All he did was be the top goaltender everywhere he's gone, including the AHL, where he's been the best player in the AHL the last couple of years. The natural progression is him to play in the National Hockey League and to establish what he is at the NHL level. I think he's a starter. The question mark is he a 50-game starter? Is he a 55, a 50-game tandem guy, a 55-game tandem guy? Or is he a standalone starter, like the Demkos when he's healthy, like the Hellebuycks, like the Vasilevskys, guys like that? There's 8 of them in the league. Saros is included in that. So it's just for him to figure out what he is at the NHL level. But I think he's on his way to showing everybody how special of a player he is. And all he's done is overcome, hey, you're a small goalie. I'm not sure that'll translate to the NHL. And the other thing I'll throw in, I know the kid in Philadelphia probably has the inside track to Michkov, but he might be up for Rookie of the Year if he continues on the way he's playing, because I really think Wolf has played great.
Talk about 6-foot goaltenders. There was a 6-foot goaltender, 93, 94 with the Islanders, a kid from Edmonton, Jamie McLennan. Jonathan Lecker-Mackey plays his first NHL game tonight. What was your first game like back then?
So I remember this vividly. It was early January. We were playing the Calgary Flames. Ron Hextall had started like 22 games in a row. It was something, and they called me up, and the skate before practice, the day before practice, the game, Al Arbor skates up to me and says, "You're playing tomorrow." And I don't remember much after that. I remember not sleeping 1 minute the night before the game. Not 1 minute. I just laid on the bed at the Long Island Marriott, staring at the roof. And I went to morning skate. I was so tired. And then after morning skate, I went and had a bite to eat. And I slept like a baby some reason that afternoon. I think I was just exhausted. And my first start, 5 minutes into the game, I let in a goal. Everything was moving a million miles an hour. Everything was bright. I think Joe Nieuwendyk scored. And I kept thinking to myself, I don't know if I can play in this league. Everything's moving so fast. And then we settled in. I stopped a breakaway. I stopped Thurin Fleury on a breakaway. And I remember thinking, okay, I might have a chance here. And we got a bunch of goal support. They had played the night before, and I think we ended up winning, I think 6-2, because our team just destroyed them. We outshot them like 57-20 or something like that, maybe 25. But I felt really comfortable as the game went on. So the nerves, I didn't sleep a wink. And keep in mind, there's no like cell phones or people FaceTiming you. I think I got on like the payphone and called my parents after the game, and they asked how it went. That type of stuff.
Wow.
It was great. I still have my stick in my storage room downstairs for my first win, so it was pretty special.
Incredible. So the key for Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, hopefully he didn't sleep last night, and everything will work out. Everything will work out fine tonight.
I'm telling you, kids these days,
Yeah.
he slept like a baby. I'm telling you, he slept like a baby, and he's going to show up, and he's going to be fine. And it's just a lot of these kids are so confident in their ability that it's just about settling into the league. So I have no doubt that he's going to be fine. And I do have to bring up one thing. I think it was 2 weeks ago I was on the show, and what did you guys ask me about Jake DeBrusk?
No.
Heater.
Yeah.
Heater.
And Jake DeBrusk, he scored, and he looks better now, correct?
Yep.
Look, Jamie, you're already one up on us. You told us about your successful NHL debut. Now you're bragging about your DeBrusk prediction. Come on, you owe us money.
I do owe you money, but here's the thing. That's probably the easiest prediction because in 2 weeks you'd think he'd score a goal. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
but I do believe he scored like the next game after we spoke because I was watching the game and I kind of chuckled. I'm like, okay, good. Now he's off to Schneid and away he goes type of thing. So it's no credit to me, all about Jake's talent and the team around him.
Okay, well, the pressure's on for your next prediction. Jamie, thanks for this.
Thanks for having me, guys. Great to see you.
You bet. Jamie McLennan, Noodles.